Hello and welcome to Ashland Ultimate Frisbee. Today, who are we taking on, Connor?
We're taking on the Medway Mustangs here.
All right, I am Todd Carter.
And I'm Connor Donovan. And so Ashland has had kind of a rough season this year, to say the least. They played Medway previously in the season, and they kind of, according to Coach Moshkovitz, got a little bit bodied.
Yep, you can see Coach Moshkovitz right in front of the camera currently with his infamous camera.
Right.
Again, both Connor and myself were Ultimate Frisbee players.
And that's a good pull from Medway to start it out, nice and floaty for them to have time to set up the defense.
Oh, a bad drop, though. Quick drop from Richie Abbott of Ashland.
And Medway's just going to move this down the field now. Looking deep. What a hammer, and it's going to find its target. That's the first point to Medway.
So Medway draws first blood. Ashland still has a chance here, but that was concerning. That was a very quick point, and Ashland needs to figure out what they need to do better.
Yeah, it just seemed like Ashland wasn't ready. They were already on offense, but as soon as they got the turn, they just couldn't get their defense set up, and that's how that hammer came to fruition.
Yep, it's just one of those more difficult things to do is change of possession. It is so difficult to switch what you're doing from offense to defense. You're in this offensive mindset. You have to, figure out who you're guarding, where you need to be. It's a big change,
right,
especially in the zone D that Ashland loves to play.
And that's even in the college level. That's why they have set offense lines and defense lines for exactly that reason. Because at the college level, you rarely see any turns. So they're basically expected to score a point on the offensive side. But that's going to be a roll pull here, and it's going to go out of bounds. So that's going to be a brick or not. Is he going to take it to the middle of the field there? Guess not.
Oh.
So that's Ben Temple with the disc. He's the handler. Excuse me. He's the handler, the person with the disc. And he's looking for a man. Can't seem to find one.
Oh, sees Mike Fedorchek. Great use, just finding that opening.
And as we said before about zone defense, looks like Medway's also running a zone defense. And it's kind of smothering Ashland a little bit because Medway certainly has the height in their initial cup that we're seeing. And Ashland certainly does not have that height, as we see there. Ben Temple couldn't get up for the disc as much as that other Medway defender could. And that's another hammer.
Catch. Medway, just fantastic use of the hammer so far here today. Something that, you'll see Coach Moshkovitz really tries to get it through to his players. He does not want you hammering. But in this case, we're seeing a very tasteful use of it.
Definitely, yeah. And Medway seems to be pretty good at converting so far, converting off of those turns. Whether that's a testament to how good their offense is or how unprepared the Ashland defense is, I suppose remains to be seen. But as you were saying with the hammers, in this specific line of defense, the zone defense, hammers are a strong counter. If you have handlers that can really place those hammers exactly where they need to be, because the hammers just go over the top of the zone defense, and there's nothing you can really do about it unless the other members of your zone are prepared for it.
Well put. Couldn't have said it better myself.
But Ashland seems to be doing a good job of breaking the zone here, splitting it through the cup, moving it down the field, which is also paramount. Oh, never mind. That's going to be a drop. And another turn for Ashland. They can't keep turning it like this. It's
Better
really
job setting up the cup immediately, though.
That's true. That's true.
You saw a more immediate setup of the cup, and, automatically you see it pays off dividends. The missed throw. Ashland gets the disc back. This is what they wanted to see right here.
Right, yeah. And another thing that's kind of essential in breaking the zone defense is just quick movement of the disc. So you'll see Ashland, when they get a break, they really try to push the offensive there. Oh, and that's going to be another unfortunate drop for Ashland. Let's see what Medway can do with this offense here.
Yep. Very warm day here today.
Yeah, a little bit windy, too.
Yep, just
Definitely
a little
gotta affect
windy.
the players. And we saw Medway just go for a huck there. It was could have been placed better, in my opinion, but you know, you got to look for the hucks here and there. Handlers with the disc.
Oh, little miscommunication on the Ashland side again.
Yeah, Ben Temple going out for the cut there, but the handler not prepared for Ben's cut and puts it exactly where Ben was and not where he needed to be. That's going to be another point for Medway.
Yeah, and you'll see Ashland starting their line changes here, getting in a new cup and I think a new midi.
Yeah.
So let's try and figure out how to best explain the defense that Ashland is running. It's a zone defense.
Right, similar to basketball. So you have the 3 main defenders that encircle the person with the disc, and then you have 3 mids that will stop any over-the-top pass that happens to get by the initial defenders. And then you have a deep that just kind of sits back there, and in case of a huck, he's ready to chase down that disc.
And the way that the mids play, they kind of, so the ones that are on the wings, on the left and the right side, tend to play a staggered defense, you'll see, in Ashland's system. So they play back a little further than maybe that center midi.
Right. That mid is pretty paramount in applying that pressure to the center of the field. So even if the Medway defense sees, or the offense, excuse me, sees an opening in that cup that we see with those initial defenders, they see that mid, and they say, well, we can't really. This is going to be a risky throw. We can't get it through the cup and try to get it to one of our men if they have a mid there. So that's what the mid is there for, just that pressure. And that's kind of what the zone defense is all about in a nutshell. And we see that in basketball, and I think even in hockey and other sports in which a zone defense is applied.
And the one thing that some people are concerned about with the zone defense, there is a way, I would say, to break it, but it only occurs by moving backwards typically.
Right.
So the only way to break it, and that is the goal of the cup, of the zone defense, is to make you move backwards, make you have to try and do that. But what Ashland tries to do, and what they do fairly well, typically, at least in past years, is just getting back and being able to counter that movement as they move backwards.
Right, yeah. And that's another unfortunate drop from Ashland, and Medway is going to seal another point here. Ashland that was another example of Ashland not being ready on the defensive end.
Yeah, just poor movement from Ashland. Just need to, it seems like they're setting their feet a little too much. You got to stay on your toes. It's, very quick movement here by Medway. They know what they want to do. That's the best way to break the cup, is by rapid movement, not letting the defense set up.
Yeah, and you touched on it before, but we talked about the defensive side, but on the offensive side of the cup, what you really want to look for is, if you can't get it through, what we call a split. If you can't split the cup, then you want to do what we call a dump swing. So you see Ashland has 2 people behind, behind the handler, and
one directly behind.
One directly behind, and then one off to the other side of the field. So what they want to do is they want to throw to the dump, the person behind the handler, and that dump wants to immediately swing it to the person on the other side of the field.
Yeah, and that's why I said in years past, that's what Ashland's been very good at, is getting set back up and being prepared for that kind of movement as they get ready, and you take away that downfield pass still, because that's typically what people are looking for.
Because when you hit that swing, the cup has to basically run across the field in the time in which the swing has all the time in the world to find one of his teammates.
Yeah, and again, that's where the middies come in as well.
Right.
And that's where they are so crucial, is in that dump swing.
But Ashland finding some splits here in the super tall Medway defense.
And yeah, it's true. This is just a very tall team, very athletic.
And that's why Ashland is kind of electing to go zone rather than man defense here, is because honestly, they don't think they can beat him in the one-on-one battles. And that's going to be kind of an impulsive throw from the handler on Ashland's side, and it's going to get D'd.
So far, score is Medway 4, Ashland 0. And Ashland, though they've started to figure out how to move the disc on offense, still don't seem to have a complete defensive answer for this tall and athletic team.
Yeah, you see right there that just what can the cup do over that hammer right there, especially coming from such a tall handler.
Yeah, and you see the cup starting to break down a little bit here, and that's why you have that quick movement. And that's what Medway seems to be so good at right now, is just that quick movement, making sure the cup does not set up.
That's an over-the-top pass, and mid wasn't there. So, oh, they're just going to call it in. Fair enough. And that's going to put them up 5-0. Kind of a rough start for Ashland here, as we're nearing the half, coming ever closer to the half.
We're going to see another line change here from Ashland. And, yeah, just so far Ashland does not seem to have the answers to this Medway offense, just this big athletic offense. And hoping Medway just makes more of those risky throws, because that seems to be what has hurt Medway so far in this game. That's the only time they've dropped the disc, is by throwing those really risky throws.
Yeah, and I'd also like to see Ashland capitalize off of that. It's because they seem to be okay at moving the disc, but there's just some unfortunate drops that come here and there that really set the team back, and that's the difference when you look at the score so far. It's been 5 points, but it's kind of been a slobber knocker either way. It's just kind of been throwing the disc downfield both ways.
Yeah, and the problem right now is, you'll see a lot of people on the sidelines getting water. It is a very warm day out here today. In the car coming over, reading approximately 95 degrees, just, hot, and not only that, but humid. And,
Right.
people are, starting to get a little sweaty, and that could affect them. Especially, you don't see too many people with gloves out today.
Yeah, that's true. And Ashland, it would seem that they have far less substitutions than Medway does. Medway's basically got an entire another line, while Ashland only has about 4 or 5 extra players here today. So as the game goes on, you're going to see some fatigue come from this Ashland team. So hoping they can get something together sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and Moshkovitz, as well as I think we could call him an assistant coach, Tucker Allers, went over, spoke to the Ashland team, tried to tell them what they need to do, what they're doing well. They are moving the disc well, and as you said, it's just capitalizing on that.
And Medway getting ready for the pull here. We've seen some roll pulls from Medway in points past, so let's see what they can do here.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, because there is a little bit of wind today. Right now, I believe they're with the wind. But going against the wind, the roll pull is usually not the way to go.
Yeah, no, that can backfire real quick. And they're taking their time here. Ashland probably deciding what to set up for their defense, and here's the pull. That's going to be another roll pull. Ashland can't get in front of it, and that's going to be pretty much in the end zone. That's a good pull for Medway.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing about a roll pull, is you have to make sure that you immediately, kick it down. And that's something you are allowed to do. Just get in front of it, get it to stop. And just simple. Stop in the roll.
Right.
Is what we used to say. Stop the roll.
And that was a fantastic flick from Ben Temple to split the cup. Because, like I said, Ashland has been really, really solid at these at splitting the cup and kind of exploiting this tall Medway defense whenever they can.
Good movement here from Ashland. Stuck in the corner a little bit.
Oh, wow, what a laser. And is that going to be a point?
Oh,
what a bid from Liam Shanner Reynolds.
just a great dive. Threw his body down, was not afraid, grabbed the disc, That's going to be a great first point for Ashland.
Yeah, they actually looked fantastic that point. I gotta say, the movement was on par with what we need to see for the breakage of a zone defense. But you know, Medway's not going to let that go. You know, they might go man, and then Ashland's going to have to adapt to that as well.
Yeah, and man is they have the team for man. They have the height, they have the athleticism. Ashland has a little bit of that athleticism, but does not have the height that Medway does.
Right. So if that keeps up from Ashland, that stellar movement that we just saw that last point, then I don't know, they might have to rethink their strategy, because they might force Medway's hand per se to force the man defense switch. Coach Moshkovitz looking pretty happy with that point. Hopefully they're back in the game per se. Slow to start, but you can't complain after a point like that.
Not at all. That was just phenomenal movement of the disc, and you know, you can't ask for much more as a coach.
Right. And of course, not to take anything away from Medway, because Medway certainly they've just been so solid.
Okay,
So to
so
see
it's
Ashland
4K,
kind of
so it
adapting
looks
and
like we
working
can.
around their defense is a great thing. Great thing to see in Ultimate. I like
Yeah.
close games rather than blowouts.
You know, obviously we're a little biased here. You know, you and I both Ashland players in the past, so that's why we're kind of talking about this great movement. But yeah, definitely you can't take away what Medway has done thus far, and even what they did on defense during that point. It just ended up being better movement by Ashland,
Right.
and Medway wasn't really able to set up their defense.
Oh, that's a nice grab from number 18 by Medway. And that's going to be in the air. Who's going to come out with it? Big
Oh
scuffle.
wow!
And Medway does come out with it, and that's going to take them for a point. Wow.
I couldn't catch the girl's name from Medway, but she seemed to just tip it enough back to her own teammate, and that's just a great job by Medway there.
Right, that's awareness right there.
Yeah, that's a little bit of awareness and a little bit of luck as well.
That's absolutely true. And Ashland saying, well, you know, we didn't really have the chance to set up that defense because Medway just came right out of the gate there. They came back with a vengeance after that point.
Yeah. So Medway now up 6-1. What does Ashland have to do to get back into this one?
Well, they're gonna need to not drop any more discs. That's the main thing that I've been seeing. On Ashland offense, there have just been some unfortunate drops during the dump swings or during some of the overhead passes they've been trying, because they really can't afford it at this point. Because they have the odds against them. But if Medway keeps giving them pulls like that, then it's gonna look pretty good for Ashland. As that's gonna be a brick, meaning if the pull goes out of bounds, then the offense can walk it into the middle of the field, which is a way bigger advantage for Ashland here.
Yeah. Again, one of the hardest things to get around is sideline traps when it comes to a zone defense.
Oh, that's a nice grab. And see, they're moving it downfield here. What can they get? Cup not set up. Ashland looking back to a handler. Oh, but they stopped. Ooh, what a split. But unfortunately, that's not going to find anyone.
Well, Casey Rosen was right there, just unable to grab that one with the Medway defender on his back.
Let's see
Some
if
great
Ashland-
looks there. Again,
No,
great
absolutely.
movement.
Yeah. See if Ashland can fight back with their defense here. That's going to be another aerial pass from Medway, but Ashland can't get the jump to take it down. Oh, that's a lucky drop for Ashland. That's something we've been seeing from the Ashland offense, but kind of fortunate that it happened to Medway in this circumstance. That's going to be another overthrow by Ben Temple.
And that's what's, you see these open passes and it, just unable to get there. Really good looks here from Ashland. But, that's what's so good about their offense right now. They do a lot of these shorter or mid-range passes, and then they surprise you with that long one, and usually it's almost there, but, when it comes to long passes, the defense definitely has the advantage.
Yeah, and this is just going back and forth here. I don't know what kind of throw that was from the Ashland handler. But good looks here. And yeah, Medway's just been, oh, that's an unfortunate drop right there. Medway has just been kind of throwing it in the air back and forth, going for these Hail Mary hucks. And they've been working here and there, but yeah, Ashland seems to have a more consistent game plan.
Yeah. Well, great job there by Casey Rosen. And again, that's what I was saying before is, as with the Ashland side, you know, defense tends to win. If as long as, you know, it's covered downfield, you can almost expect that defender to win.
Oh, that's a good D by Casey, yeah.
So far, a great defender and a rarity in this sport. And I'm going to call it a sport. Because you see Casey Rosen, he's playing the deep defender position, the deep D, and then he's coming back and he's a cutter on offense. And for those who don't know what a cutter is on offense, you have your 3 handlers. The other 4 people out on the field are cutters. They go in and they try and get the disc as Medway scores here.
Yeah, that's going to be, is that going to be half? Or are they going to play one more?
One more. So halftime is when you score 8 points. So 1 point away, depending on who you're looking at. So 1 point away for Medway from a halftime. And we're just seeing some athletic dominance. Casey Rosen now coming out as well. Again, a hot day here. Ashland's going to need some full line changes as we go along.
Especially as we're ending the first half here. Ashland's going to need to take some time to recoup.
And that's what you'll notice further along as we keep going in this game. You're going to see that points will be a little longer at times with as you know, each team adjusts to each other. I've noticed that in our old games, even if we were, you know, the ones on top, the last couple of points tended to go a little bit longer just because we were all getting a little tired and we were starting to learn each other's offense and defense.
Right, yeah.
But in this case, you're going to see in between points is going to be long as well with this hot day today.
Definitely, and that's going to be another brick from the Medway pull there. And as they tap the disc in, let's see what Ashland can get.
Great grab there.
Ben Temple's got some good looks for handling. That's going to be unfortunate right into the hands of the mark on Medway's zone defense. And that's a swing from Medway. Look downfield, can't find anything. That's another swing back, and it looks like Medway is not playing with a dump. They're just confident enough to run with one handler playing back for the swing. And it looks like it works out for them, as that's going to be halftime for Medway.
Yeah, just a great job. We'll come back after this. Again, Medway up to 8-1 at this halftime mark. So we will see you in just a few minutes.
Yep. And we're back here for the second half. Ashland at Medway. Medway leading 8-1. And what have we been seeing so far, Todd?
So far, we've been seeing some just tremendous athleticism, some big bodies on Medway, just able to overpower this Ashland team. And it's showing in the score right now.
Yeah, that's going to be.
They score another quick one.
That's another one, yeah. Medway's getting away with these hucks. We kind of saw them not get away with these hucks at the end of the first half here, but it seems now Ashland just isn't prepared and not ready to D those.
Yeah, and this is what we've been seeing a lot this game. Just some great play by Medway, but really just based on their just pure athleticism and
Right.
height. Ashland doing a much better job of, moving the disc upfield, really making some smart decisions in their passing. However, defense, the cup is not working against this tall team right now.
Right.
I don't know if man would work much better, but at this point, I don't know if Ashland's going to give it a try or what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think it might be worth it at this point, but that's not my decision to make.
Right. I'm always pretty apprehensive to switch to man out of desperation, because Ashland has historically been a very zone-heavy team for a long time, and I always say stick to what you know best. But I mean, you're right. If they're not, if it's not going to do anything. Not really sure if zone is gonna work out.
And again, you're seeing this roll pull, and it's not working out currently. Again, that was the one I was talking about it earlier. They had that roll against the wind, and leads to a very quick Ashland possession deep in their territory. But a weird
That happens.
throw by
It happens.
just an accident.
Yeah, you get the disc, and we were talking about how humid the day is. Your fingers get sweaty, and it just slips right out.
Yeah, I was talking to players at halftime, and they were saying that was exactly the problem. They were just having things, slip off their hands because it's just so hot and humid.
Right. But before that drop, we actually saw some great movement from Ashland. And let's see if they can capitalize here as they get the D. There's the dump, looking for the swing, finds it. Looking upfield. You can't find anyone upfield, and that's not what you want to do when you're the swing. You just want to get rid of that disc as fast as possible so you can break the cup.
Yep. Again, preparing that dump swing, and I think they had to use it, but another drop here. And Medway is deep in Ashland territory, looking to score their next point.
Oh, what a beautiful hammer.
And
that was just gorgeous.
Yeah, that is something we've seen a lot from Medway today, though. They are just fantastic with the hammer.
Yeah, it seems as though they have a couple handlers who are just machines at throwing these hammers and having them find their target just perfectly every time. And if I'm Ashland, I'm a little bit frustrated right now, I gotta say.
Oh yeah, no, this is definitely a bit of a frustrating game, and but there's not much you can do. It's just based on some of the athleticism that they have, and Ashland, I think they need to do what they were doing before. They had Casey Rosen back there, and that seemed to be working out very well, especially against those Hucks.
Yeah. And as much as I hate to call it early, Ashland is just what I like to call getting better teamed right now, because all the answers just seem to not be there. So it's better to just take this as a learning experience, I found, in these kind of situations.
Yeah. I mean, right now they got to try and figure out something that may be working better than what they had before.
Exactly. Now is the time.
I think their offense is all right. Again, just need to correct those silly drops. There's nothing more you can say other than fix it.
Yeah, definitely.
for that kind of thing. But as far as defense goes, they need to find out an answer, because right now, it's just the pure athleticism and height.
Right.
And I'll say that all game.
Yeah, no, that's in Ultimate. One of the beautiful things about Ultimate is that that's only one half of the story a lot of the time. You can have athleticism, but what we're seeing basically two sides of the coin here. Ashland has the movement and the disc skills, and we see some players on Medway. Obviously, that handler who threw that hammer earlier definitely demonstrated some amazing disc skills, but I would say that Ashland probably has the better disc skills, which is one half, while Medway seems to just be towering over them with athleticism, which is the other half. But it just seems like one half seems to be stronger than the other half in this situation.
Yeah, and if you can match those two together, though, the athleticism and the disc skills, you have a team like we had just a couple years ago.
It's true.
Really. Again,
Second in the state.
yeah, and that was a phenomenal team for both you and I to be a part of. Definitely one of the better experiences in my life, just being able to be a part of that amazing team.
Yeah, Ultimate's a really cool sport. You see a lot of these Ashland teammates. They're really close with each other, and so even in a tough loss, they can learn from it, and their relationships with each other won't be strained or anything because they're all friends.
Yeah, and it's great. And the nice thing to see about Ultimate Frisbee as well is there's no hatred between the teams.
Oh, never.
There's never any hatred. It's such an emphasis, though, as compared to many other sports that you'll see. There's just so much of an emphasis on this team is not your enemy.
Right, on sportsmanship as a
Yeah.
whole. Because unlike other sports, we actually self-officiate all of Ultimate. We have no refs. Even at the college level, we have observers and not referees who ultimately get the final say on a call, but they by no means have the same power as a referee. So that's kind of a unique thing about Ultimate, and we haven't seen any calls here yet this game, but
No.
it's interesting to
Did
note.
you see the Facebook
Yep.
post?
The nice thing, too, is what you'll see a lot right now, too. I've seen it a couple times in this game, is
Ballet's
if
on
people
there.
fall
I
down,
messed up though.
once they get
fixed what I
themselves
messed
back up, they're trying to help the next person up, and that's always great to see. That's what I always loved was
Yeah, the sportsmanship. Absolutely.
Yeah, I can do that. I actually
and
So
we're
what I
getting
did
ready
was I
here.
had
Another
Connor
one of
do the
those roll
voiceovers.
pulls, and
at the studio this morning.
Ben Temple
Oh,
taking
yeah.
it from the sideline.
Ooh, that was a nice split from Ben Temple. But that's going to be an errant
so
throw
what we did
right
is
to
I
the
messed up and
the
I
deep D
edited
on
Sam
Medway.
Rothkopf
one at a
not really
time.
paying attention.
I was supposed to do both.
I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed
Yeah.
by Ben Temple.
So
he's
the-
finding
the one,
splits in this
The Sleeping Beauty has
gigantic
a full highlight
Medway
reel,
Cup.
and the
which is
other
not an
one
easy
is
thing.
just a voiceover
Not an
with
easy
a couple
task
of
at all,
clips
but
from
I think in this type of a game, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
have to
absolutely.
find those splits.
Yeah,
In any game, you need to find those splits, but especially in this game, because if not, you're just going to keep moving
yeah,
backwards,
it's just a minute long.
and
piece,
that's
basically.
what the cup wants.
And then
Yeah.
the other one's about 2.5
let's see what this
minutes.
Medway handler can do here. Is he gonna swing it? Oh no, he hammers over the top. That's a gorgeous hammer. And the
You can
mid wasn't ready for it.
No, I
Yeah.
wasn't able
And you can
to.
see the heat is actually, I believe it's messing with the camera a
when
little
I
bit
get-
here. And again, that's just how hot it is today.
Oh no, I was gonna say.
Great D by Sam
We're
Rothkopf.
filming the frisbee game right now. Can
Just
I do it
an
after?
amazing effort
Okay.
against a much taller player too, and
Definitely.
that's
Okay,
just
that
positioning.
works.
Yeah, that was a well placed
Alrighty.
hammer too.
Yep.
That was all
Yeah, you sent
stellar
it to me.
stellar defense. Excuse me, from Sam. And
Yeah.
Casey's got
I'm
the
at
disc
the
here.
middle school actually.
And that's the only thing that you can counter the height that Medway has. Just positioning. If you have the better position on defense, you're going to win.
Ooh, what a savage defense from that Medway handler. And as he's gonna pick up the disc here, what's he gonna find?
He did that with authority.
Yeah, he did.
Again, quick movement, not letting the defense set
Yeah.
up.
Oh, that was a good idea from that Medway handler. A good split attempt because he saw that giant hole in the Ashland Cup, but unfortunately couldn't break it. Couldn't break the mark. And another split from Ben. Look at that. And Sam with the disc here, looking for a man. Oh, and that's an unfortunate drop right there by Liam Shanna Reynolds.
Yeah, I'll probably go.
And this Medway
I
handler,
might
he's
have to
been
go-
putting in work
I'll see
on
if I can
offense
get in today.
and defense,
I don't
should
know
say.
if I can because it's a school day.
Yeah,
I'll see if
Medway
I can
is
and,
now
like, get
4
in as a
points
guest.
away from winning the game, and it's in a large part thanks to him. And,
Absolutely.
some of his abilities, what he's been able to do.
That's a
Great
savage
job.
defense from Casey right there, answering right back.
Yeah, I'll go in and ask
Ben
them.
looking for a huck. Don't think he's going to find it as he swings to the side. Sam looks for a huck.
Okay, yeah.
That's going to be a
that
little bit
works.
floaty. So, yeah, Casey's not going to have good positioning on that because
Yeah.
of the floatiness of that huck.
I am so glad he's
Yeah.
back.
You get that huck. Again, 9 times out of 10, the defense is going to win that.
Right, yeah. The stars kind of need to align on a huck like that. It's just you need the stellar placement from the handler and the incredible positioning from the offense. And usually it just doesn't work out that way. That's why Ashland especially elects to use these small quick throws rather than giant hucks across the field.
Well, it really opens it up downfield.
Yeah.
Is the big thing.
All right,
Too.
that works.
You know, as you keep up with these
No
shorter
problem.
throws,
All right.
not that one, but
Yep,
if
I'll
you
see
do
you
the
tomorrow.
shorter throws, what it does is it brings
Bye-bye.
the defense actually in towards you, and that's when you know it opens it up for a downfield opportunity. And just want to take a moment to thank our cameramen out there today, who are us.
That's true.
Todd Carter and Connor Donovan out there filming the game, and now we're back in the studio announcing over it. We're here with a certain person, Matt Gazzard. Anything to say, Matt?
Not much, Barry. Ultimate Frisbee is a new sport to me. I almost wish I played it in high school. It seems like a lot of fun.
It certainly is, yeah.
I've been watching this, and Medway, seems just to be the better team. Wow.
Ooh, what a bid by Sam. Unfortunately, didn't get the D there, but got to respect the hustle there.
Always love to see a great layout,
Yeah,
whether it fails or whatever. Just always love to see the effort.
yeah. We've seen quite a few layouts this game. One especially from Liam Shannon Reynolds to score the first and only, I should say, Ashland point that we have right now.
Connor, I got a question for you.
Absolutely.
I want your thoughts on Ashland's uniforms.
Ashland's uniforms.
Yeah.
Traditionally, they've been pretty cool. We went from this kind of standard jersey style back when I was a freshman, and now we're kind of outsourcing for these crazy looking jerseys that started basically when I was a senior. But I don't know, I kind of dig it, and I especially see Casey, his jersey actually has a hood on the back, which I think is super cool. But in terms of the design,
I
think it's hit or
thoroughly
miss.
enjoy them.
Yeah,
I know you guys used to stray away from the traditional blue and white, and I love to see that it's back.
oh yeah, definitely. And it's just it's nice to see some alternative jersey designs rather than just kind of the numbers on the front and the back with the last names, as we're so used to seeing.
Yeah. Medway is ready to send that disc down towards Ashland.
Yeah. Let's see if Ashland's ready for it this time. See if they can at least get another point on the
That
board.
works.
And that's going to be another
If you
roll
want,
pull.
you
Nice
can steal my
stop by
credit card
Ashland.
information.
Doesn't let it get by them.
All right.
There's a swing. Nice grab. Ashland looking for a defenseman here.
Now, since I did not play Ultimate Frisbee, when you receive the disc, you're not allowed to move right. It's kind of like in basketball. When you pick up your dribble, you have to stay on one leg the whole
Right.
time.
Yeah, pretty much. You have a pivot foot, and you can't stray from that pivot foot. Otherwise, it's a travel, which thankfully we haven't seen any travels yet from either team. But
Clean offense.
absolutely,
Fundamentals, key to every single sport.
yeah. And Medway doing a good job of moving it down the field here, just breaking Ashland's cup. That handler takes a little time, and now it's going to be able to. Ashland's going to be able to set back up the cup, forcing
Just
that.
missed that.
Yeah, forcing that overthrow.
Connor, this was great, but I'm going to give it back to Todd because he has a little more knowledge of the sport than I do.
No, absolutely.
And for the viewer's sake, I'm going to give it back.
Fair enough. Thanks, Matt.
Welcome back, viewers. And no, great job so far. I mean, you're kind of learning the sport. You're definitely picking things up. You know, I think someday we might see the next big announcer. Just
Make
maybe
a-
on a sport he knows a little bit better.
And we'll make a Frisbee player out of you yet, Matt.
I think that we should have table tennis matches at some point.
Ooh, great
Yeah,
D
Matt's,
from Ashland.
Matt's talking to us. He wants table tennis. We're definitely gonna have him announce at some point. He announced the lacrosse game that we recently did as well.
And that's going to be a good look from Medway, and that's going to put it to 13-1 here. Unfortunately, it's just you can't even make it. You can't even make it close at this point.
Yeah,
I hate to. Ashland's going to need beyond a miracle.
this is worse than 28-3 in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, a little
right
bit.
now. You can't come back from this for sure.
But Medway obviously can't take anything away from them. They're a fantastic team. Their program has evolved over the years, definitely from humble beginnings, I should say. Because when I was a freshman, they didn't even have a team, and by the time I was a senior, they had a fantastic program. And now seeing that they're out there and contending with the best of them, I wish them good luck in tournament for sure.
Yeah, I think they have the ability to go far in tournament. We'll have to figure that out at some point later on, how they did.
Yeah.
Ashland, obviously, everybody is invited to tournament, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's not one of those things where it's like a championship where, you only get in if you're over 500 or something like that. Everybody goes, and everybody gets that opportunity. And it's surprising, some of the lower ranked teams really do make it further than you'd think, and it's just based on matchups.
Yeah, basically. The seeding and the upsets that can occur at these tournaments are pretty crazy.
Yeah. Well, I'm just talking about, how each team plays. I think we were either number 1 or number 2 entering the tournament, and ending up number 2 overall was definitely, not a huge surprise, but at the same time, it's the way we played, and we had some tough matchups leading up to the big finale.
For sure, yeah. That's a good bid from Mike Fedorchak there to try to get the disc, but he couldn't find it. And Medway, are they going to convert this for a point? Ashland setting up the defense. You see a Medway offender coming in for the disc to try to break the cup.
And again, that's what you want to see if you're Ashland, being able to set up your defense.
Yeah, and forcing those gigantic hucks that don't really find a teammate. As Ashland's going to bring it up here. Let's try to get at least one more point on the board.
Yeah, what do you think? I'm thinking Ashland gets the point this time.
I mean, if they move it like they have been in the past, we've just been seeing the same thing pretty much all game, just
I
some errant throws.
Yeah, I see them coming out, and they're a little bit stronger this time. They're really focused, really trying to ensure that they don't drop anything. Again, just laser passes here.
Yeah, certainly. That's definitely something we've been seeing this game is these really accurate, hyper-focused passes. Oh, as I say that, that's gonna be a digger. And Medway back on offense here. Let's see if they can convert. That's a dump. There's the swing. Looking upfield. Can't really find anybody. Ashland Cup is going to set up. Looks for the swing again. And there's going to be a big hammer.
And again, Ashland gets that opportunity. Again, I'm seeing that focus now on defense. If they can keep playing defense like this, it will give them a much better opportunity throughout this game.
Yeah, and I think a part of it is just Medway. Medway just kind of wants to end it at this point, I feel like. They're up 13-1.
Great job right there. Just getting back and grabbing the disc.
Looking for a teammate. Ashland handler. Not going to find one. Elects for the dump. Ooh, you saw Richie Abbott wanted that split. Couldn't find it. And Ashland moving ever closer to that second point. Are they going to get it? The pass. Yep.
Oh.
Oof, that's an errant dump back to the handler. And Ashland's going to get back on defense here. This is a long point, I got to say.
Oh, and a great job. Saved herself with that one.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. That's what the cup is supposed to do. When they look for those splits, the cup is just supposed to deny them and really provide that, back up the pressure that they exert, basically. That's going to be a huge hook. And deed by the Medway.
Yeah. Mariona, there was a Franklin defender that fell. I think Mariona was more concerned about that. Again, this is what we're talking about, spirit of the game. Just, you know, just more focused on, you know, making sure everybody's all right as compared to the point.
Yeah. Oh, it's a good idea by the Medway handler, but couldn't find its target. As Ashland's going to pick this up.
Oh, just too far in front.
Yeah, I like what Mike Fedorchuk was trying to do there with the lead.
Yeah,
because that's
just
usually
a little
what you want
rushed.
to do. Yeah, that's usually what you want to do as a handler. You want to just throw it in front of the offender you're trying to get it to, so there's no chance for a defense. But unfortunately, just a slight overthrow, and the offender couldn't get there, even if he did lay out for it.
Oh, I couldn't really see that one, but it looks like there was a drop on the from the Medway offenders, and Ashland deep now in Medway territory as they drop it.
That's unfortunate. They just can't seem to finish this point. This point has been going on forever.
I was dragging that one out a little bit because I was kind of excited. I'm like, oh, they're going to score.
Well, if there's a
But
time to
again-
do it, and there it is. That's
Yep.
going to be 13-2 Ashland, as Ashland gets the first point of this half.
There's some confusion, though. Medway's looking around right now.
Are they calling a walk-in? Yep. So they're going to call a walk-in, which means that Ashland, well, it's basically exactly what it sounds like. Ashland
Walked
took the
into the
disc
end zone.
and took a few extra steps, regardless of momentum, and they don't really want to call that a point yet. So Ashland's going to be at the front of the end zone looking for someone. That's a wacky throw, but it finds, is that Richie Abbott?
Yep, Richie Abbott for point number 2 for Ashland. Ashland still down by a very large margin.
Yeah, a hefty amount here. But there's going to be a line switch. Let's see if that can bring Ashland anything, as we're heading into the the wee hours of this second half here.
Yeah, and this is, again, you saw that was a very long point.
Very long.
And, you know, that's what we tend to see a little bit at the end of these games is, you know, Ashland is starting to figure out a way to stop Medway on offense. However, I have to give it to Medway now because I believe that they're going to come back. They're going to talk about that point, and they're gonna come out a lot stronger than they did on the previous point.
Right. And it's just kind of a point like that is just really, really stressful on both sides because especially with the heat here, it's just the longer that point drags on, the more drops you see, and just the point gets longer as it goes. And so it's good that Ashland finally finished that point out. And there's going to be a pull from Sam here. That's going to be a good pull. Nice and floaty so the Ashland defense can get down there. And Nick Featherston, the mark, he's really set to go. Let's see if Ashland can get a defense here and maybe even score a third point.
Great job by Nick Featherston as a mark.
Absolutely.
As well. Just getting right up in the offender's face, right up in the handler's face, and not too close, obviously. He's still the disc length away, but getting right in there, really trying to cause some disruption. That's what you want to see.
Yeah, and it's good from a mark. He understands the oh, that's a great D from Casey. He understands his positioning, how to really emphasize the break side, and how to position himself such that he doesn't get broken as a mark.
Yeah, just I'm thoroughly impressed
Yeah,
by his ability to mark, and
especially considering the straits of this Ashland game. Considering he's putting in so much effort, it's great to see. It's great to see that Ashland hasn't kicked the bucket or given up despite how much they're down. because, like I said, it's a learning experience at this point. They're just trying to get as much as they can heading into the close of the season and eventually tournament.
Ooh. That was hard. Sam Rothkopf had to try and go up for that one. Unable to. Medway, again, deep in Ashland territory with the disc now.
They're going to find a swing. Looking upfield. Can't find anybody, so they're going to swing again. And this Medway handler we're talking about is going to throw a really, really low to the ground hammer. That's going to be 14-2 Medway. So game point. Game point for Medway here.
And, you know, I don't want to say I saw this coming, but, you know, they did come out with that laser focus. You know, Medway was the team that was prepared for this point.
Right.
And, you know, they stuck to what they were better at. You know, they kept going for those hucks that last point. They, you know, they wanted the game to be over, but they realized that they, you know, they do have to work for it.
Right. Ashland may be the weaker team technically here, but they're not going to give them any freebies.
No, not at all. Especially with Casey Rosen being back in the game now.
Oh, absolutely.
Doing a great job on defense so far this game.
And we're seeing the hustle of people like Casey and Nick Featherston really making a difference at the close of this game.
And I don't believe there are too many seniors on this team. There, I know Olivia Francis Onspach and Nick Featherston, I believe, are both seniors.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I can remember right
Alex
now.
Mariona.
Alex Mariona. Don't forget him. There are quite a few, but there are also plenty of juniors with a lot of talent.
Right, yeah.
And we're excited to see that for next year. See what they can really develop into. And again, speaking to Ben Temple at halftime and even before the game, I believe he's really excited to take over this team. And he was talking about, you know, early training for next year. Really wants to get everybody into some great physical shape.
Yeah. Well, it looks like Ashland's going to work the what we call oregano here a little bit, but it's not going to work out. Oregano meaning it's one of our code words for short and quick passes between two handlers. And Medway's going to try to finish out the game there, but he's not going to find the huck.
Yeah, just not there. Again, defense is going to win that every time. I think Medway needs to realize that they need some smarter passes. What they were doing before, they want to close this game out, and I can appreciate that. You know, it's definitely warm out there. It's been a long game in this heat, but that's just not how you're going to do it. And that now applies to Ashland as well.
Yeah, that was kind of a desperate huck if I've ever seen one. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do, I suppose.
Yeah.
Medway moving it down the field now. You were right, electing for those shorter passes. Not really going for any hucks yet. There's the dump. Look for the swing. Finds the swing. Looking upfield. These Medway handlers doing a good job of moving the disc and breaking the Ashland Cup right now. Some clean play as we're seeing the finish here. Yeah, this is what we want to see from an offense versus a cup. We just want to see some clean movement and some dump swings that really do pay off. That's going to be a good split to end the game.
Just a great job here from Medway. They will win 15-2. Ashland put in some great effort, especially towards the end. Medway was just a bigger, more physically dominant team today.
Yeah, I agree. And so yeah, I'm not sure about Ashland's record, but I think they're just barely breaking even this season. So I wish both of these teams luck as they head into tournament.
Yeah, and this is Todd Carter.
And I'm Connor Donovan.
We're signing off. Enjoy your summers.
Yeah, see you next time.